What's up, everybody? It's been a while. Got a new house, so been kind of busy. Haven't had time to make any videos, but I did get something. Since my last video. I got rid of the old SP650. I've got the review video for that. Feel free to go back to that. I honestly wish I kind of would have redone that video after I switched out the tires. It was such a better bike.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
But anyways, I'd always had my eye on one of these. This is a 2011 RC8 R. It's a KTM RC8 R. It's got a 1190cc LC8 engine. They didn't make very many of them. I actually tried Googling and trying to find out exactly how many of these things got imported into the US, and it turns out that was kind of a secretive subject. So I know that they're very rare, and other than this one, I have yet to see another one in person. So as you can see, this one comes with all kinds of aftermarket goodies. It's got these nice, I like these nice sliders stick way out, which of course the plastics are pretty fat on the front, so you kind of need this extra bar to make it stick out that far. It's got a trick bars on the back. I'm not into trick riding by any means, but I actually really like these bars. If you do go down, that's an extra slider. So that's going to prevent, between that and your spool, it's going to prevent any of your plastics or anything getting screwed up. Not to mention this. Has an up-down shifter. Not to mention, you can actually change this and mount it here so that you can get track shifting, so that up is down and down is up. It did come with really crappy shift levers, well, clutch lever and shift lever. So I replaced those. I need to tighten them up. They're a little bit wobbly, so I need to put some spacers in there, but not a big deal. I did just spend $1,600 in the damn top end of this engine, having it rebuilt. It was making noises I didn't like. I took it apart, and having not messed with KTM, once I got it apart, I said, yeah, I better have the cams checked out and everything, because they were a little bit scarred up. So I took it over there and they did a complete rebuild, all new spark plugs. This actually has 4 spark plugs instead of 2. This was the switch year, 2011, when they started using dual spark plugs, which helped the throttling issues that these had. Apparently, they had a real sticky throttle on them before. They don't have that problem on this model, although I will say it's a stiff throttle, and your stop-go is pretty abrupt on this bike. But yeah, this one's got higher mileage. This one's got 23,000 miles on it. It is a little bit chattery, but that's my clutch. And I have a brand new set of Kevlar clutches sitting inside the garage there, but I don't want to throw them in just yet. I'm going to get a little bit more mileage out of this before I throw those in. Let me get leathered up, and we'll take her for a ride. Sound check. This does have a full Dominator exhaust on it. It's catless. Very mean sounding bike, very loud bike. Pretty old school, honestly, display on here. That being said, it does have a lot of different options that you can go through. You just click this button here, which is hidden, and you can get all kinds of different stuff to show up. It is definitely made for tracking. This shows the engine map. But you can even put, I was about to say, you can put tire sensors in there, which would be pretty sweet, and get that to pop up. But the nice thing about this is it can track your lap times, which there's actually a lap button right here. I don't know if you can see that, but I thought that was pretty neat. Definitely made for the track. God, thank God I got moving. It is nice, hot, and humid out here in southern Indiana. I got to be relatively careful on this road. My garage had some nasty stuff on the ground, and I'm not sure how much is on my tires, but hoping to work that stuff out of them. But yeah, so this bike, they came with, this year I believe it was 175 horsepower, and it was like 90 something foot-pounds of torque. Maybe, I'll have to double check on that. I'll go ahead and add the correct numbers on the screen. But very fun bike. I honestly assumed this bike would be more of a low-end torquey monster than it is. It's actually more of the power band is up in the high end, which kind of surprised me. I'd say once you get up to around 6,000, this thing really starts to zing. You can feel that power kick in. But very fun bike to keep in higher RPMs, of course. This is not a inline 4. I have heard of issues of people over revving them too much and actually causing the shims the valve shims to jump out from spring failure. So as much as I like to rev this thing out, I make sure I don't go overboard and actually do shift the damn thing. But the auto blipper works okay. It's definitely not revolutionary. It leaves a little bit to be desired, but it is up and down and it does work. I've heard that you can fix that with the aftermarket mods. I wasn't going to try it. I didn't plan on keeping this bike that long. I'm probably going to be getting an R1 next, but I've always wanted to own one of these. I wanted to say, hey, I've had one of those. Just kind of a selfish thing, honestly, vanity thing. No, I've never seen anyone on one of these, so I was like, I think it'd be cool to own one for a bit. But yeah, so I've ridden this thing, I'd probably put about 1,300 miles maybe, and it's a fun bike. It's a very fun bike. It handles amazing. The chassis on it, which, KTM, that's kind of what they're renowned for, is their chassis. And this bike's no different. Absolutely sublime cornering bike, especially for, this does not feel like, once you get this thing going, it turns over so fast, so easy. It's borderline twitchy how fast it steers in. And that kind of makes me wonder. I did see a lot of guys in the forums stating that they started running a 200, because these come with a 190 rear tire. They started running a 200 rear tire, and I'm kind of wondering if that doesn't play anything into it. Maybe slow down that turn in a little bit, get a little bit more stabilization in the corners. But I never did. I haven't had the chance to track this. I absolutely would love to track this. I don't know if I'll get around to it before I sell it, which is okay. I've done everything that I really want to do on this bike, and honestly, with it being as rare as it is, I'd kind of hate to take it to the track and thrash it and then possibly wreck it. I'd rather do that with something that's more common, like an R1, which is kind of my idea of getting an R1. But yeah, no, this is a great bike. The brakes are absolutely phenomenal. I mean, top-notch brakes. It actually took me some getting used to get used to the front brake on this thing. The clutch is a bit heavy, and it's funny, any groups that I went and rode with, of course this bike gets a lot of attention, so especially if you're going over to another group of bikers to go ride, you'll notice that your bike tends to be the one that gets all the attention. So anytime someone would come over and pull my clutch lever, they'd go, oh shit. I'd say, yeah, it's a little bit heavy. Now that being said, this bike is completely, this is what it's been referred to as the last true great analog bike. This bike has absolutely nothing to help you out. Has no traction control, no ABS, nothing. So, I don't want to say it's not a forgiving bike, because this is honestly one of the easier bikes to ride. It's just got a ton of power. But even with all that power, the chassis is just that good. It's so confidence inspiring, even without ABS or traction control. I have always, I've felt way more confident on this bike than I ever did my SB650.
even after I got the tires on my SV650, and that's saying quite a bit. And these tires are actually dated on this, and they need replaced. It's got some old Brasso 3s. It looks like the previous owner was kind of a highway warrior. Rear tires rounded, or not rounded out, flattened out. It's not really round at all. You can notice it whenever you're going hard into any kind of long turns. You can feel it teetering on the flat spot of the tire. But even with all that, I'll have to constantly check myself on my speed, because it is so easy to accidentally go way too fast. And that's not just going in a straight line, that's going in corners. And I know there's roads that I know very well, that I take all the time, and I know exactly how fast I could go on my SV650, whether I'm, you know, pushing my limit for fun or going comfortable on that road. I knew exactly what speed was, you know, what difficulty on that road. And let's just say I'm definitely well within my comfort level, not trying to push the bike, not trying to get in trouble, and I've caught myself going way past my comfort zone on my SV650. But yeah, the sound on this bike, especially on whenever you are revving down, is just phenomenal. That being said, I probably, if I was going to keep this, I would eventually replace that Dominator exhaust. I would either put the factory exhaust back on it. The reason why is because whenever you put an exhaust on these engines, full exhaust system, you have to put a tuner on it, or take it to someone who knows these engines and put a dyno tune on it, and this can store up to 2 different maps. It might be 3, I'll have to double check. That would be the best way to do it, honestly, is to have them map it directly to the ECU on the bike. But this bike does have the EFI tuner on it. I never did get a dyno, and I'm pretty sure the guy that installed it didn't either. He probably just put some crap map on there. And it does, I mean, don't get me wrong, this bike is fast. Like, when I went on it back there, my front tire was off the ground half that time. This thing has tons of power. But for how much horsepower, 175 horsepower, which is 23,000 miles, so we'll give it a break and say that it's got like 165 or something. I feel like it's, I don't know, it's definitely not slow. It's linear, it's more linear power than a lot of other bikes. I just want to say I feel like it would be more scary power than what I'm feeling. And then maybe that's just me as a rider, and the speed on this just doesn't scare me as much as I thought it would. But I would definitely take it and get it tuned. I think we can see a little bit more out of it, definitely on throttle response. It took me a while to get used to the throttle response on this. It can get, if you don't know how to work the throttle on this, it can be kind of sketchy if you're really getting it in a corner, because this thing does have quite a bit of torque, so you don't want to accidentally romp that throttle too hard in a corner and slide the ass out on the bike. But yeah, incredibly rare bike. It's so rare that you even see them listed for sale, like on Cycle Trader or anything. I lucked out on this one. It was actually a local dealership of all places, which is crazy because Indiana has just absolutely abysmal pickings when it comes to finding a bike. Dealership had it listed. I ran up there and snagged it. But the value on these bikes is increasing pretty quickly, so it would not be a bad bike to get a hold of it and hold on to it for 5 or 10 years and then get rid of it. Plenty of power, very stable. I've only had the handlebars slap on me once, and that was coming out of a corner onto a straightaway. I gave it too much power, got my front tire off the ground, which I actually intended to do, but I came down a little bit harder than I should have when I touched down, and I was still a little bit leaned over. So the bike wasn't stable, and the handlebar, just one quick slap, but it dislocated my thumb. It slapped so hard. So that was you know, one of those hard-learned life lessons. Keep that shit for the track. It was a big open road, so I wasn't worried, even if I should have wrecked. But yeah, no, a great bike. I just I'm about to sell it, like I said, to get an R1, so I wanted to make sure I got a video out of the way. I would be pretty stupid on a bike this rare if I never created a video for it. But yeah, I think I'm just going to go ahead and enjoy the ride. You guys are welcome to stick around and enjoy the video. Or if you'd like, hit me up if you're looking for an RC8. Right now I'm waiting on my title. I've been playing hell with the dealership to get the title, but I'll have that here hopefully next week. I actually ordered it from the B&B and expedited it, but it's going back to the dealership and then it has to come to me. So probably have the title here in about a week, so I'm not really going to be able to sell it for about a week from now, but that's all right. Not a big deal. Oh, actually, story time. Okay, so this bike. So this bike specifically, I've said like 20 times how rare this bike is, and that's 100% true. That's one of the downsides to it. I mean, that's one of the plus sides, but it's also one of the downsides to this bike. If you're the type of person that likes to work on your own stuff and not burn your money throwing it at shops, having them do all the work, then you're more like me. That's how I like to do things. Well, a lot of the ways that I'm able to do that is from a beautiful thing called the internet. Odds are if you're trying to do it, someone's done it before and it's been on a forum or there's a tutorial or whatever. That's not necessarily the case with this bike. The problem is it is so rare that the information on it is limited whenever it comes to any kind of troubleshooting or anything. I had a electrical issue with this. After I'd gotten it back from the dealership, they had screwed up my wiring. And oh man, trying to find any kind of information is kind of a nightmare. And same with parts. Trying to find parts, it's kind of ridiculous too. Gas is so expensive right now, $3.25. That's crazy. That's another thing about this bike is how comfortable it is. You know, this is a very comfortable bike, especially for a super bike. I would argue this is actually more comfortable than my 650X. Now, I had the X, which does not come with standard handlebars. I would not say the same thing if it was a standard bike. It had clip-ons, and the ergonomics of that bike just did not work well. But this is an incredibly comfortable bike. You just throw your arm down on the tank like I am and you can go pretty much forever. The seat looks like cardboard, but it's surprisingly comfortable. I've never had my butt hurt on this thing or anything. Yeah, so back to my story. Sorry, I got sidetracked. So yeah, it's very hard to find parts for this bike. A lot of stuff you have to wait months to get stuff shipped in. There's not a lot of aftermarket things for this bike. I was under the illusion that I would be able to get OEM stuff from the ADV bikes because they had an 1190cc ADV. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm sure there's a bunch of interchangeable parts. That's not necessarily the case. Most stuff actually are not interchangeable, even on the engine. Really surprised me. This seemed to be its own, unique engine. There's a lot of small differences to it that don't allow you to use the parts off the other engine. So you have to special order pretty much everything on this bike. There's not much stuff you can get aftermarket, and even if you can't get it aftermarket, it's not something you can get quickly, at least not in the US. So keep that in mind. Common items you might actually want to, if you plan on getting one of these and holding on to it for a long time, it would be well worth your while to stock up on some common items. Like go ahead and get a stator, get a come on brain, what am I thinking of? A master, shoot, hold on. Get a master fuse, that's another one. Get your clutch set ready to go, that was another one. It's really hard to find. You can find the clutch packs, but not with the steel packs inside of them. That's really hard to find, so it'd be worth it to special order some of those and have those on hand. And let me think here. Probably master cylinder, slave cylinder, little things like that, you know, stuff that doesn't break the bank. Just little by little, buy some and have them on hand. But yeah, I've had this bike completely torn down. I'll throw up pictures now when I did that, and it's actually not too bad to take it apart. I've heard people screaming about how hard the tanks are, the gas tanks are on these to put back on. I didn't have an issue. You're not gonna try to do it by hand, I'll tell you that. But a large screwdriver, you could just brace it right here and pull back, and or on the other end of it, and no problem. Such a fun road. Oh, listen to that bike crackle. What a great day. Oh shit. Oh man, he's alive. I'm gonna go help. Go, go, go. Go, 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 go. Well, almost time to save a turtle. You see the look that guy gave me? He didn't give two shits about that turtle. He was just thrown off that I decided to block traffic to do that. Bike sounds so fucking good. It's unreal. I don't know how well that comes through on my mic because I got a really good noise canceling mic that comes with this this video, but Jesus, that engine, man, it is so hard to beat that sound. I'll turn her around and head back home and do some final thoughts and close out the video. A little hairpin, hold on, I'm gonna rear brake a little bit, bring her in, swing it over. Yeah! That's fun. What a fucking beast. Whew. Good ride. So, fun bike. That's number one. This bike is fun. Number two, it's sexy. I don't care what anyone says. This is a sexy bike. It's a very unique bike. Nothing else out there even looks remotely like this bike. Number three, value. For what it is, if they're low mileage, these are very expensive. I've seen them anywhere between 14 and 20,000 if they've got less than 5,000 miles on them. That being said, if they're higher mileage like mine, they're anywhere between 8 and 11. So for that amount of money, I mean, you can buy a 175 horsepower super bike that has a very limited run. No one else you know is going to own one. It's really just that simple. No one else you know is going to own one. You're going to be the only one that owns one. And you're going to sound, your bike's going to sound the best. It's really that simple. Your bike is going to sound amazing. That being said, that and, you know, if you decide to track it, you're going to be very happy. Because, like I said, the chassis is just sublime. It's amazing. It's so confidence inspiring. You have to check yourself constantly to not go faster than your technical skill will allow, because this bike will ask you to do that. It'll say you can do it. You can go just a little bit faster. That was nothing, because every corner you take feels so freaking easy, and this bike is so forgiving. Even when you do, like I overshot that one corner. I mean, I didn't overshoot it by a lot, but you know, I did overshoot it. I missed my apex. Like, just so quickly was I able to just manhandle the front of that bike and push it where I wanted it to go, because this chassis is so compliant, especially the front end. It's unreal. And if you actually put your ass on the rear, if you slide your ass off the side of that thing, it gets so knife's edge accurate where you point it. It's almost twitchy, to be honest with you. I think it's probably easier going, the faster you go, the less twitchy it gets. But this thing is it feels like you're on a knife's edge. You know, it wants to go. It wants to turn in. That being said, very, very stable. It's almost unbelievable that this has no electronics, because it does not feel like it has no electronics. It feels like it has very good electronics that you don't feel, because good electronics are ones that you don't feel. Yeah, great bike. That being said, oh yeah, bought it with those cracks. That being said, parts. So we talked about the good stuff. You know, amazing brakes, handles amazing, fast, lots of torque, very linear. Good suspension. Didn't mention that actually. Fully adjustable suspension. And it does come with the stabilizer. So everything's good on it. It's a great bike. Perfect all-around bike. It really is. About 30 miles to the gallon, if that matters to you. It doesn't matter to me, but don't go more than 100 miles without having a gas station nearby, let's say that. Now the negatives. Very hard to find parts. You pretty much have to get most things direct from KTM. And kind of like I was telling you with the stator, you might be waiting around for a while. Which sucks. So it helps if you're not the type of person that works on your own stuff. Don't buy one if you do not have a KTM dealer near you. That's the other thing I didn't talk about. Other dealerships, they won't touch these bikes. A lot of other bike shops won't touch these bikes. They say, I don't know, man. I don't really want to touch that. They know what they are, and that's about all they know. They know that they're very rare. So you have to be very careful based on your location about buying one of these. Make sure you have the means to keep riding it. Now that being said,
Let's talk about parts affordability. It's not that bad. It's actually not as bad as I thought it would be. Really, it's the labor is where the money goes. If you're taking this to a KTM shop, prepare to spend prepare to let them take your soul from you, because they're going to charge you an arm and a leg, and it's really going to piss you off how much they charge. And then they're going to bring your shit back, and something as simple as dongles are going to be done wrong, and you're going to have to completely go through the wiring of your bike. Not saying it happened to me. I'm just saying don't let it happen to you. But yeah, very good bike. I'm all for someone buying one, but like I said, I wouldn't suggest anyone buy this bike. You need to be an experienced rider. You need to be at least at my experience level. I'm a few seasons in. I've ridden quite a few bikes, most not my own, most way faster than well, what I own now. So I'm comfortable on this bike. I wouldn't get this as your second bike. There's no way. You can handle it, don't get me wrong. This bike is so manageable, it's unreal. You would never, oh God, here they come. This bike is so manageable, it's unreal. You'd never believe it has 175 horsepower. And even when you're going fast, it doesn't feel like you're really going that fast. It's hard to describe it. But it's very confidence inspiring, and it's more that reason, honestly, than the power of the bike that I say this isn't a good second bike, because it's going to inspire confidence that it shouldn't, and you're going to do something that you really don't have the technical skill to pull off, and you're going to end up low sliding it. So I would suggest the person that buys this bike is going to be the guy that's on his third or fourth bike, or even an older rider. Someone that has a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for here? The ability to hold back those urges a little bit better. Because this bike will talk to you, and it will tell you, go faster, lean harder, loop around, let's try that one again. You could take that way faster. This bike will whisper sweet nothings in your ear, and then she'll kill you in your sleep. So it's mainly for that reason, because it is so confidence inspiring that you either need to be a very technical rider and preferably someone that tracks, or B, just be someone with a whole lot of self-control. But yeah, that's my bike, 2011 KTM RC8 R 1190, for sale. So send me a message if you're interested. And then it came with these cracks, and no idea how the hell they managed that. But other than that, it's actually in great shape. There's nothing wrong with it anywhere else. I do need to get the stator done, but I did spend almost $2,000 in the engine, and I mean just recently. So that engine, as you could tell in the video, it fucking sings. But at any rate, good seeing you guys. Sorry it's been so long since I've had a video. I'll try to get some more out, especially as fall hits. I really like making videos in fall. It's just not so muggy out. But I will catch you guys later. Peace.
Hell, Lottie frickin'